We're bringing you an urgent warning today, one that was uncovered by some of the most effective consumer advocates you'll find anywhere, Christopher Elliott and his team at Elliott Advocacy. They have spotted something that could completely change the way we all fly.
We've all been there, right? Stuck at the airport, watching the departure board as your flight gets delayed again and again. You go to the gate agent for help, for any kind of information, and you just get a shrug. No help, no apology, you're completely on your own. Well, that feeling of helplessness isn't just a bad travel day. It's the future the airline industry is fighting for. Or how about this? You score what looks like an amazing deal online, a flight for just $29. But then, as you click to buy, the fees start adding up. A fee for your bag, a fee for your carry-on, a fee just to pick a seat. Suddenly, that cheap ticket has exploded to 10 times the original price. These aren't just frustrating what-ifs. They're at the heart of a very real plan.
So what is happening here? Well, the U.S. government recently backed away from a new rule that would have required airlines to compensate passengers for major delays. The moment that happened, airline lobbyists saw their chance. They went straight to the Department of Transportation with a massive wish list, basically a plan to tear down the few protections travelers have left.
And their demands are pretty shocking. First, they want to get rid of automatic refunds. That means if your flight is canceled, you'd have to battle them to get your own money back. They also want to kill the rules that make them show you all the fees up front. They're even pushing to weaken protections for travelers with disabilities and to scrap the rules that help families sit together on a plane. The bottom line is this. The industry wants to get rid of clear, predictable rules and replace them with whatever they feel like doing at the moment. They want total power to decide if you get a refund, if you get any help, or if you're just left stranded at the gate. To really understand how serious this is, we have to look at how things work in other places. The truth is, the U.S. is already way behind when it comes to passenger rights, and nothing shows that more clearly than comparing our system to Europe's. Just look at this difference. If your flight in the U.S. is delayed for 4 hours, even when it's the airline's fault, you are legally owed zero, nothing. But in the European Union, a similar delay can get you as much as $650 in compensation. The gap is absolutely enormous. Now, the airlines will always claim that stronger rules would make ticket prices shoot through the roof. But the actual data tells a very different story. The estimated cost of Europe's much stronger passenger protection system is at most about $1.20 per ticket. That's it. For a cup of coffee, you get real protection. And here's the wild part. Those stronger rules seem to make airlines perform better. A study from AirHelp showed that U.S. flights were almost 3 times more likely to have a long delay than EU flights. It turns out, when airlines have a financial reason to be on time, they're on time more often. Okay, before we get to how this fight ends, there's a really important takeaway here. The rights you think you have when you travel are not permanent. They were fought for over years, and they can be quietly erased behind closed doors. And this is how it happens. It starts with heavy lobbying from the industry. That pressure leads to government agencies weakening the rules. Then Congress can come in and pass new laws that make those weaker standards permanent. That's the exact process that is unfolding as we speak. People are definitely starting to take notice. As one frequent flyer, Andy Abramson, put it, it feels like a heist happening right out in the open. After taxpayers gave the airlines $54 billion in bailouts, this is how they're being repaid? It's a question a lot of people are asking. So, what's the final verdict? Are the airlines going to get everything they're asking for? For that, let's go back to the consumer advocate who broke this story, a man who has been watching these battles for decades. Here's Christopher Elliott's prediction. The good news is he thinks the automatic refund rule will probably survive, mainly because it's so popular with the public. But the bad news is pretty bad. He expects the rules on fee transparency to be at risk or just gone. And any chance of getting European-style compensation for delays? Forget about it. It looks like passengers are going to lose ground. And it's so important to remember we only know this is happening because of advocates like Christopher Elliott and his team, who work to drag these backroom deals out into the light. In the end, Elliott leaves us with this final, chilling thought. For the airlines, this future without rules is a dream come true. But for every single one of us who flies, it's a nightmare. And that nightmare is boarding now, at a gate very close to you.